Yeah, go for it, baby.
Cool. I'm just gonna jump right in. I don't need your stupid countdown, Evan. Just countdown master, whatever.
Dude, Evan is so
Whatever.
good at counting down, though.
Listen,
Every movie
Boston,
night,
no,
man, I
no,
live for that.
you don't get to say that. I'll kick you straight
Why
off.
not?
I'll kick you straight out.
Holy shit. Dude, he's
No
a timer.
podcast for you.
Oh my god.
Zach's
Yeah.
the power's already went to Zach said.
Old King
I-
Davenport.
Yeah. Look at my eyes. I am the captain now. Okay.
God King Davenport
Yeah.
says that you must be that your balls must be crushed today.
I want that, but with the video where it's Yoda and it's the Lego Yoda scream. If you know what I'm talking about.
I love
yeah.
that video.
Yeah.
That video where he takes that rock and crushes his giant floppy bean with it.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I gotta say, when we were watching episode 5 the other night, listen, I swear to God, every single scene, I was living it in like through the lens of Lego Star Wars. Like I kept seeing it from the game. That's all I could think about.
I wish I could make like the building noise with my mouth. Like, yeah,
Just like that, Evan. Yeah. Okay, I'm starting now. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Making Time for the Boys podcast. We're here with my co-host Evan.
What's up?
Yeah, perfect intro, Evan. Very proud of you.
Oh,
Friend
dude,
of
what the fuck? Not hear me.
No, we can hear you. Returning
heard him.
returning friend of the show, Aaron,
hey,
and another friend of the show, Boston.
Hey, yeah, what's wrong with Evan's yo?
Yeah, I
With
thought
his
you
yo?
fucking scared me. You made me sound like a psychopath because then I got mad. I thought you couldn't hear me again for like the 50th time.
Okay, guys, let's just act like we
Scared- you
can't
s-
hear him.
You scared me. My heart can't take betrayal like that. And yeah, what was like wrong with my what's up? Tell me, Zach.
It was delayed. That's what it was. There was
Yeah, I
like
bet it was.
yeah. But, okay, you know what, Evan? You know what? You and your stupid Randy Savage profile picture on here.
No one's gonna know what you're talking about when you
You know
edit this
what?
video.
I'm gonna put in just this this screen grab right here of just your stupid little Randy Savage picture. It's gonna be perfect. Everyone's gonna know.
Stupid.
Listen, I
Yeah,
can't.
everyone will know the truth.
I can't prove the gotcha game thing because you're gonna say whatever about that, but I can prove your stupid Randy Savage profile picture.
Well,
So,
good, because that's something I want you to prove. I'll say it loud and proud. I've got a Randy Savage profile picture, and I think it's the fucking cream of the crop, baby.
He might even leave a mildly homophobic comment on
Yeah.
the YouTube video.
and it may, you know what? It may get like 2 likes. And it's gonna be Boston and Aaron liking the comment.
To all the boys.
Yeah, it's the boys we made time for this week, leaving a like for a boys comment. You know. Okay, so we're gonna talk Marvel. We're gonna talk the WandaVision trailer. What we're gonna start with is just the fact that it looks fun. We can all agree it looks like a fun concept in that we want it to be good.
I never
Right.
said that.
Well, okay, Mr. Randy Savage, take it away.
What do you mean take it away? I just said I never said
I
that.
didn't say it
That's a fact.
either. I don't think Aaron did.
don't think
I actually think neither of you said anything, and it was just Aaron and I.
yeah, that is, pretty sure that's what happened.
Not for lack of trying.
And not for lack of trying. I'll give you that much.
I had very good conversation points when my mic was dead.
Well, you know, kind of looking at the WandaVision trailer a bit, we not only see what they're going to try and do stylistically with the whole different eras of sitcoms almost, but I gotta say, while it looks good, I don't really feel like it looks groundbreaking.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Well, maybe. So you mean like just not actually, yeah, explain that. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I think it, like I've said, it looks fun conceptually, but my worry is, are they going to be able to execute it? Because I think in a lot of ways we can expect that it's going to be a serviceable show just by the fact that it's Marvel, and most Marvel things have been at least serviceable. I think even if you look at like the Thor movies that are weaker, like they're definitely not great, but they're serviceable superhero movies.
The word I would use is mediocre. There are a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
Marvel movies that are
Yeah.
mediocre.
and I think
Mediocre to kind of
and it's something, Evan, that I'm sure you'll want to expand on. It's just the fact that we're taking some characters that have been given the mediocre treatment through their appearances
pretty
on
much.
screen, and
Pretty
we're going to
much.
make them the focus of a show.
Well, because that's the issue with characters like Wanda and Vision. 'Cause they're characters, and you can see the same thing happened to Hawkeye and Black Widow. They were introduced in like these kind of Avengers team movies, and they never really got any time, any like substantial time or room to grow as characters. They tried to do something, but
Right.
like no, like there's not. You just don't have the story because during those movies they're also trying to develop the character arcs of these other like characters we've been with who have also had their movies and such. So like the investment for these characters, especially Wanda and Vision, isn't really there per se.
Right.
Uh, so it's kind of an uphill battle because like it's an uphill battle in that sense. Like a show like Loki, which you know, even if that isn't anywhere near as good as WandaVision, it's probably guaranteed to like get a
Yep.
pretty substantial following, just name recognition alone,
Right.
just by the brand. So it's probably a good choice than what they're doing with WandaVision because of their unique the unique spin they seem to be trying to take on it because that's probably the best way to get people interested.
Right. And
It worked with Thor.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it worked with Thor because his first two movies were not very good, and then Thor Ragnarok came around and kind of changed the game, and now like everyone loves him.
Right. Well, and I think, what WandaVision has going for it, but also the thing that's going to end up working against it is the fact that it's going to directly tie in to the Doctor Strange movie. Because, the first Doctor Strange movie, maybe just, I mean, it's a good story, but it also has Benedict Cumberbatch. So there's a certain level of, like, acting quality you can expect when he's involved with a role.
Mm-hmm.
And he really brought a lot to that role in that movie. So I think, there it's a really good way to build extra hype towards a film that's already going to see pretty good numbers.
Right.
But if the show's really poor, then that could hurt what Doctor Strange is able to do.
Yeah, I wonder how important the tie-ins are going to be with these shows to like the movie universe,
Mhm.
or I guess I should just say the rest of the Marvel universe. Yeah, that's something I've been curious about because they're finally getting to make Marvel shows in the actual canon.
Right.
I wonder if you'll be able to just skip over some, or if it'll be sort of like an essential part of all the stories going forward.
Well, I'm kind of hoping they do what they did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it was like, at least in the early seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I never made it past like season 2. But in the early seasons, what they would do is just like, they would have an episode take place right before a movie that would
Hmm.
just kind of allude to the fact that something's going on with a hero. And then the next episode would take place after the events of the movie. Like, even though Thor the Dark World is a controversial movie in the MCU landscape, because quite a
Is it?
lot of people despise it. It's controversial for me because I like that movie just because of
Oh,
Chris
right. You've
Eccleston.
got bad opinions.
Yeah, okay, okay. But a cool thing about Agents of Shield was before that you kind of get this idea that things are going on and Thor might be like returning to Earth. And then the episode after is they are there where the battle took place, kind of doing cleanup. And so
Yeah.
they could have these shows just loosely tie in. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, Wanda's going to be in, the Doctor Strange movie and be an essential character, but you can just kind of get this idea that she's had something going on that brought her to Doctor Strange without necessarily needing to know what happened.
The thing I
Yeah.
only worry about that with that sort of description of it is that it sounds cool, but I also feel like it sounds almost like the show becomes more or less like an advertisement more than its own story. It's
That's
like, oh,
fair.
you want to know this essential piece of information? Better watch the movie because we ain't telling you shit. So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. And perhaps it's probably more nuanced than that. But that is an impression I get that kind of worries me about that style.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
well, it's sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's interesting because like going back to what you guys were talking about earlier with the character development that Vision and Wanda have gotten into the movies or gotten in the movies. I think we're gonna get most of these characters' development happening in these shows, and then it's like,
right.
are they also going to try to develop them in the movie? Like, I feel like it could be detrimental almost if you develop characters in these shows and then don't develop them in movies. And if you
Mhm.
Right.
don't watch the shows, then it's like,
Well,
well, this
that's the big
character's
question.
bad now.
That was the big question when they announced these shows. Are they necessary to watch the movies? How important are they going to be? Will I need to buy if I want to watch my favorite Marvel movies? Do I need to buy Disney Plus just to watch
Hmm.
fucking Falcon and Bucky run
Yeah.
around? I
Right.
mean, if it's something that I'm not sure how Disney has approached it. I think personally these shows they have out now are not probably going. Maybe Vision and Wanda are going to have probably the most like character
Yeah.
heavy shows. I don't think any of the other shows are going to be necessary though. Not
Right.
even not even not even Falcon and Bucky. Like at least nothing that you couldn't read on like a synopsis page. And they're
Right.
going to, and I think they're going to see how these shows pan out. And if they do really well, then I think they'll start transitioning a
Still
bit
leaning
more.
into it.
They'll
Yeah.
lean into it a bit more into making the character development happen a bit.
Well, you know what's kind of an interesting case study with these is if you look at what Netflix did with their Marvel shows, because basically coming out of that, the only actor that may have a chance of getting brought over to the actual MCU is Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil. So it's like, could we see something kind of like what happened with the Netflix Marvel shows, where it's like we're going to use Disney Plus as a testing ground to see what the people like the most, and then bring those things into the movies?
Mm.
Would Daredevil be a show that's like even possible in the Disney
Well,
Marvel landscape?
that's the thing is with the whole Netflix Marvel stuff, it never directly contradicted anything in the MCU,
I was
but it
thinking more about.
also never like established itself fully in the MCU either.
I was thinking more about style. I mean, because
Oh,
Yeah.
Daredevil, when I saw it, was like rather grim, dark. Kingpin smashed this guy's head in with a door. I mean, it was pretty. It was pretty hardcore. When I'm not
right.
like not of comparatively to Marvel, it was super hardcore. And I don't know, has Marvel ever gone that dark?
No, not in the
No.
movies.
Well,
Exactly. I
and you
don't
know
know if
that's
Marvel could
something.
do Daredevil.
Maybe that's a pro of the shows. Maybe
Right.
they'd be more willing to
Perhaps.
do certain things. Now, I
But
kind of doubt it
I
because
doubt
Disney
that as
Plus
well.
seems very like sterile, like
Well, and
Right.
very
also if it's taking
Disney.
place, if it's taking place in the same universe, they don't want to taint it, quote
True, but
unquote.
they are
I would
bringing
assume.
over Deadpool, aren't they?
Well, yeah,
I don't know. I
they
didn't know
are
about
But
bringing
that.
over
that's so.
Deadpool. That's
But that,
like
I guess it's just
confirmed.
like if you can get confirmed, like if they know that they're gonna have a confirmed profit of like a lot of money, with Deadpool, I feel
Right.
like that kind of takes priority over
Yeah.
their.
Well, Deadpool I
But
think is a special case, and even then, Deadpool
no, you're
is,
right. I agree.
and even then with Deadpool, like he's like he's got like blood and guts, and it's got
Hmm.
some like those elements to it. It's still not the same tone as Daredevil.
No, it's not.
It's
Right.
like fucking sad.
Well, and that's kind of a thing with these Disney Plus shows is that these what we're lacking in the MCU movies because they're so cookie cutter, we could finally get with some of these Disney Plus shows, which could be a big way for Marvel to actually draw in people who aren't huge fans of
Right.
the Marvel movies. Like Boston, I know you're not like a huge Marvel fan, but do you feel like there's something they could do with these Disney Plus shows that would maybe get you more invested into the Marvel landscape?
Well, I know that the reason I'm really not too big into Marvel, and we were talking about this earlier before we started recording. I brought up the whole conversation with Martin Scorsese. The debate is like, oh, is Marvel movies actually cinema? And I think no one really thinks that, oh, they're not cinema, but um, it's really like just. I don't like it because I feel like I know what happens every single time. It's very
Formulaic.
Right.
Yeah,
What's the
exactly.
cookie
And
cutter?
yeah, and I wish there was maybe more like risks taken, or I
Right.
Hmm.
wish there was more like loss, something that I could really get like shocked by,
What I think
Right.
that's what makes like the ending of Infinity War, even though it was predictable that something was going to happen, since we already knew it was like a two-part thing.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But the choices they made of who they killed off in Infinity War was what made it more impactful than a lot of other Marvel movies you go to watch.
But the sad part about that is, they'll never do that again because the
Right.
reason they did it in Infinity Wars because they knew they could just bring everyone back immediately.
Yeah.
So it was
True.
like
I think the
kind of
the
depressing.
most surprising scene in Endgame or Infinity War was when Thor chopped off Thanos' head. That was really shocking to
Yeah.
me the first time seeing it. I was like, "Wow, I didn't expect that at all."
A
But
scene that
otherwise,
was
it was kind of like, if you're a comic book fan, then you pretty much know what's going to happen. Besides, who's actually going to die in Infinity War,
Right.
like Zach said.
Well, you see, perhaps that movie in particular is definitely like an exception, but I think for the most part, most of them, that's just kind of like
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
the
Well,
main
I
vibe, and
actually
that's why it's hard for me to get into it.
I had a conversation about it where because there are definitely Marvel movies I think that are really good, and so I like counted out which ones are really good and like how many are really good and how many are just like mediocre to bad.
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure I came to the conclusion there are like maybe 7 that are really good, and there's like
Hmm.
12 that are like mediocre.
Well, I think one big problem Marvel has with their whole movie landscape is the fact that what they have found that works for most movies is we're just going to make this movie kind of a funny, good time with a couple moments of like, oh, this is a little sad, but don't worry, it's all going to be fine at the end. Because, I think you look at stuff like really the Captain America movies, those are like the high points for me
Yeah,
of the Marvel
they're pretty
landscape
good.
because they don't try and take it and be funny. Like that's not what the movies are meant to be. But I think, and Evan, I'm sure I can get you going for hours with what I'm about to say, but it's like you look at the Spider-Man movies,
Oh fuck.
and the
Here we go.
Spider-Man movies have
Here we fucking
some
go.
glaring flaws because of the fact that they try to be fun the whole time instead of
Yeah.
being true to what Spider-Man really is.
If you watch Spider-Man 2 and compare that with the recent Spider-Man films we got, it's clear who I believe it's clear which movie is superior
Hard agree. Hard
in
agree.
terms of the not just even in terms of like the moral it's going for, the tone, the way it characterizes the Peter and Spider-Man and the people around him, the way the things it has to say about being a hero is so much deeper than anything any Marvel movie probably has ever done. Because it has one thing because they really got Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, they really got Spider-Man because a lot of what they say in those movies is about how like being a hero is about sacrifice and even if it's not like it's you don't do it because you get anything because there's a reward. You do it because it's the right thing to do even if it's like
Right.
makes you really depressed. It doesn't really cost like give you anything in return. And then you got Tom Holland Spider-Man and he's like there's not it just doesn't have that same weight to it. The
Right.
scene that always gets me is in Far From Home. He's in that bar with Mysterio, and Mysterio is like, "Why, if you don't like being a hero, why do you keep doing it?" And I thought for certain he was gonna say, "Oh, because with great power comes with great responsibility." Or even something along the lines of like, oh, but because like Tony, because they really tried to push the Tony Spider-Man thing, which I even have my own opinions about that. I don't think they even executed that to the full like correctly.
Right.
But he could have even said like, oh, because Tony was such a great hero and he really like taught me like uh, sometimes it's not about what you get or how you feel about it, but it's about doing the right thing. I mean, his sacrifice showed me that. There's something along those lines, but instead he's like, I don't know, because I just felt like I had to do it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, what a way to kneecap the entire Spider-Man character.
Well, this may be a hot take from me that gets me crucified by Marvel and Spider-Man fans, but I feel like the first Amazing Spider-Man movie
Oh
even does
God.
the wait, now hear me out. Even does the
Go ahead. Go
dynamic
ahead. Go ahead.
even does the dynamic of Spider-Man better than what
Hmm.
the MCU Spider-Man movies does because of the fact we get Uncle Ben, we get very it's not the exact with great power comes great responsibility line, but we get something like that as a driving force for the character, you know. And I think you still get the fun of, and snarkiness of who Spider-Man is with the weight of the fact that he's still like he's a teenager, you know. Now
I would.
again, the Amazing Spider-Man has a lot of flaws,
Okay.
and
All
Andrew
right.
Garfield is far from the perfect Peter Parker. But the
Very far.
dynamic of who Spider-Man is and what a movie of his should be is done better in the Amazing Spider-Man than it is in the MCU movies.
Hmm.
I will concede the point of Uncle Ben to an extent because I do think Uncle Ben is extremely important to the Spider-Man story. And I know they didn't do him in MCU probably because they was like, we've seen him twice before. But like I think to just erase his existence essentially is just like a total slap in the face for Spider-Man's characterization. Uh, I'm not sure I agree with anything else about Spider-Man. God, that's a terrible movie, man.
It would have been cool if, with the line "with great power comes great responsibility." I feel like it should have been present at some point in them.
Yes.
Like, even if it is something, I mean, that's like a major part. I don't know. I feel like it's just something you do. I don't understand why you
Well,
have to. They
it's
felt like they
like
needed to avoid that.
it's like you take Batman and you never mention his parents were killed. He's just
Exactly.
Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a core
Well,
part of his character.
well,
That is
yeah.
Spider-Man's thing.
Even if Iron Man were to have said it to him at one point, I would have been like, okay, good. Like that, at least
Yeah,
someone,
at least like they got it in there. I'd still be a bit pissed.
it,
But
it's
it'd be like
I
it's there at
agree.
least.
I it is difficult for them because
I know it
they
is.
got Spider-Man in so late in the game. They
Right.
still could have done it better. But it was,
Well,
and I think they attached him to Iron Man because it's kind of like it's easy to give Spider-Man more like emotional attachment for the like to the audience if you just throw him in with Iron Man, because
Right.
he's
right.
Right. Well, because
so
everyone likes Iron Man, and they're both nerds or whatever, and Iron Man's like doesn't have a son, and so they can, and Peter doesn't have a dad, so they
yeah.
can fill these roles for each other. I mean, the concept in and of itself, I think, is fine.
But
Uh,
it does leave it lacks something that the original Spider-Man um, character would have had.
Right.
well, I mean, just well, that's like even because that goes deeper into Tom Holland's entire
Yeah.
characterization. I think in terms of the Iron Man Spider-Man relationship, I think one of the major issues with that is that we just don't get enough time with them
Hmm.
just, spending time with each other because that's the thing. I never bought it. I never bought that they were actually like they were like really close and that, they were really like they had this bond of almost like parent and child of like parent and child or family. I never
You
bought it.
know, that's kind of like a problem I feel like is widespread throughout a lot of Marvel's movies is that a lot of times we don't spend enough just time doing
Yep.
things with these
Hmm.
characters, which is why it's important, again, bringing up like the Captain America movies. You get like the moment in Winter Soldier where like Cap comes home and there is Nick Fury sitting there, like music playing, injured, and there's just this moment where we get this like the trust between Nick Fury and Captain America, and they have this conversation. And sure, it ends with like a sequence of action, but still we got a quiet moment. We
Yeah.
had something, and then like all the things that Cap has with Falcon, and
Right.
those moments of camaraderie and character development. That's really what it comes down to. These quiet moments are perfect things for character development. And one problem Marvel has is by following its cookie cutter formula, it doesn't spend enough time developing its characters properly.
Yeah, I mean it's just well because like even like with the Captain America and Falcon, they had this when they first met, they were just running along, and they did that thing like on your left, the thing. It's just like
Right.
an innocuous little thing, and it's something that kind of stuck with fans because they even brought it back for Endgame. So you can't underestimate the power of just like characters interacting with each other, because like I think I think an audience would be definitely willing to just like enjoy that and like enjoy the feeling of this bond being strengthened between them.
Right.
But it's not something you get too much in Marvel because they're action movies, and you have to have a lot of action, I
You
guess.
know what I always think of when I'm thinking of the problems with Marvel's characterizations a lot of time is when you watch like the animated Justice League show,
Hmm.
every episode is still has the action you want and things like that, but it doesn't do that in a way where it shies away from quiet moments to the point where you even get like a Christmas episode where it's nothing
Yeah.
but an entire episode of development of just like here's all these quiet moments for these characters. And I think you have to have those quiet moments not just so you can get more from these characters but also so that you as a viewer can kind of digest all the things you've taken in.
Yeah.
Um, to just to have a side note real quick. Was Sam Raimi supposedly involved with the next Spider-Man movie?
He's directing the Doctor Strange movie.
Oh shit.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I
It's been
remember
a
that
while
actually.
since I heard about that, but I knew he was involved with something.
So
And
we
now that I
get
remember, yeah, it is the Doctor Strange.
to see Bruce Campbell in all his glory showing up in the MCU.
Um,
Which Bruce Campbell is such like a he's not really a great actor, and maybe that's rude of me to say because I have seen things where I feel like he's good, but he plays the same kind of character in almost every role he is, and it's almost always Ash. Like he's playing some variation of Ash in almost everything he does.
yeah, I wonder. Do you have any ideas what you think he'll be playing?
I think it'll just be a cameo as there because if they're gonna bring in the multiverse, it wouldn't be that hard.
Mm,
It's like they're going through some like portal or
ah,
something to just like side glance through a portal, and there is Bruce Campbell Spider-Man swinging through or something like that. I don't know.
that
It'll
would be.
it'll be something fun just because
Uh,
that's how Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell's relationship is.
yeah, that'd be cool though. I mean, I guess I'm down. Um,
They
so
enter a portal and it just becomes Spider-Man 4.
dude, I'm down for that. That'd
I'd
be
be so
awesome.
fucking down for that.
The score just becomes dramatically better than any Marvel movie ever created.
It's like, oh my god, we gotta beat fucking what's a Spider-Man villain they hadn't done yet.
Vulture.
Vulture. Fuck Vulture.
They were going to do
Weren't
that
they
for
going to do
Spider-Man
Vulture?
4. Yeah, they were going to
Yeah,
Really?
do Vulture and Mysterio. Bruce Campbell was
which would
actually
have
going
been
to be
awesome.
Mysterio. In,
Oh,
or
interesting.
that was the rumor. I think Bruce Campbell has denied that, but there's like art that was released from planning the film, like
Yeah,
storyboarding art that showed him as Mysterio. I don't know. You know, those movies, it's sad to look back at those movies and think that Spider-Man 3 single-handedly ruined the future of
Yeah, that was
Tobey
that
Maguire's
was
Spider-Man movies.
that was sad.
could
That
have
was
been
sad.
good, but
But
Well, the first two were masterpieces.
yeah.
agreed.
And you know what? I think even in hindsight, we can all agree that the third one, as kids, we all enjoyed it.
Oh,
And
I
I
still love
think,
it.
I
right.
can
And there's
watch it and
still
have fun
plenty
with it.
to enjoy, but it's kind of like watching the prequels.
Yeah,
In a way, it's like, I'm going to have a good time as I
Yeah,
watch
it's just
these.
like that. It's actually,
Yeah.
it's the same exact thing. Yeah.
because you see all these stupid moments and you just kind of laugh at them, like when he's dancing down the street or
Listen,
when he beats up his girlfriend.
that's the only scene I can't watch is when he walks out of the building and like finger guns. And every time I watch it, I'm like, I gotta skip this. I can't do it.
Um.
But getting back to WandaVision,
Yeah.
kind of gearing us back on track after the Spider-Man tangent that I welcomed from Evan. Um, I think one thing we need to discuss with WandaVision is the whole House of M logo that they kind of hide on the wine bottle in the like 60s era feeling scene in the trailer. Because what we're probably welcoming in there is the X-Men, either
Definitely.
in WandaVision or in Doctor Strange. So a big question with that is, do we feel like bringing a new Wolverine in is acceptable?
I
And
think
if
there's a
not,
50-50 shot.
Oh man,
I think
I
there's a
feel bad for
50-50
whoever
shot
that
for it.
is.
I think they're either not going to do it at all, or they're going to do it, but make him a chick.
No,
That's
dude,
exactly what
that
they're
would
going
be
to do.
terrible.
Would it be
You know it.
comparable to getting a new Han
No.
Solo? You think? I mean,
ooh, maybe.
Yeah, except
That's
worse, I think.
you know
really?
what?
agree.
Wait, you think it'd be worse than Han Solo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
look. I mean, Harrison Ford is classic as Han Solo, and no one's ever going to do it better than Harrison Ford did. But I think because of Hugh Jackman, the way he is, and it's like just how much he embodies the character, because Han Solo is like an original creation.
Mm.
So I think it's easier to kind of fit someone or to make anyone fit that role almost in a way. But when you're taking Wolverine and you have all these comic fans who are going to degrade anyone you put in a role in any way they can find, and then they take someone who, like, other than his face and the way he like physically builds himself, doesn't really look like Wolverine because of how short he is compared to the real Wolverine. Or I think it's either he's shorter or taller than Wolverine. It's a height difference. That's the main thing. But they fully accepted him to the point to where, in Logan you get this perfect ending for Wolverine, to
Mhm.
where it's hard to
Mhm.
want to let anyone else take the role that everyone already feels like had a perfect ending.
Yeah, there's not many superhero actors on the same level of like uh
Just perfect, like syncing with their
yeah,
character.
I
Right.
was gonna say like glory, but that seems like too
Yeah,
talking about
too.
word.
Yeah.
But like no, because like you who do, like Iron Man, Wolverine, and probably I don't know who else are like
I mean, Patrick Stewart as Professor
Patrick.
X. It's hard to.
Yes,
I mean,
I was gonna say
listen,
that.
James McAvoy as a young Patrick Stewart is one thing, but taking another older Professor X and it not being Patrick
Mm,
Stewart almost feels like a crime.
yeah, and they're gonna have. They're probably. I mean, that's probably gonna happen, right? I
Yeah.
mean, in the Marvel universe. I mean,
In
because if you're
my
gonna bring in the
mind,
X-Men and you don't have Professor X, that's gonna be
the
kind of.
the only
I don't know.
Gonna be kind
acceptable
of sus.
thing for me with Wolverine is I don't want him replaced. What I would rather have is just what you do is you take the girl who played X-23 in the Logan movie, bring her into the
Mm.
MCU through the multiverse, and then she's just the Wolverine in quotation marks of the MCU. Because then you're not
Wow, I think.
disrespecting what
Oof,
Hugh Jackman did, because she was in it, she's
right.
part of his ending, but you're also fulfilling a lot of these fans' needs for a more diverse cast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
I didn't
obviously,
think about that.
I probably would be more on the side of don't replace him. I don't want to see a new Wolverine. But if there was anybody out there that I think gives me like Wolverine vibes, is the guy that plays Butcher
Yes,
from the
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Carl
he is really
Carl
good.
Urban.
Carl Urban, yeah. Carl Urban would be
Mm.
great, or I think Tom Hardy would make a really good Wolverine as well.
Hmm.
Now, the only
I
problem
I
is
I
don't know
think
if I
I'd
would.
prefer Carl.
well,
Yeah.
listen, I agree, but I know you're thinking Venom Tom Hardy, and that's what comes to
Hmm.
mind. But I mean, you look at like he's in Mad Max Fury Road and
Okay, that's
like
a good
all the
point.
Christopher Nolan movies,
That's
and
also a good point.
like Tom Hardy is Bane in the last Dark Knight. Like Tom Hardy's a much better
Oof.
actor than what Venom was.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just so
that's
sad.
a really good argument. Actually, I didn't. My first reaction was just immediately thinking of Venom, but you're very right. He has acting chops for sure.
I don't
It's just
understand. Venom is a great movie.
Right.
I think Venom. You said Venom's actually your favorite Spider-Man movie, right, Evan? Sure. Right there, right above Spider-Man 2 is Venom. Specifically, the scene
You're
where
exactly right.
Tom Hardy hops in the crab tank
No,
because he has a
no, that's
fever.
not the thing. It's the scene at the end of the movie where it's the epilogue, and he goes to the prison to
Oh,
find what the fuck's his name,
Oh,
and he finds him,
yeah.
and it's the guy from Zombieland. Except
Cletus
he's got a
Cassidy,
stupid
I
guy
think,
from
is the villain's name.
Zombieland.
he's got a
Woody
stupid
Harrelson.
fucking wig on him.
Which one?
Woody Harrelson.
It's Woody
Oh,
Harrelson, yeah,
shit.
Twinkie guy in both.
Twinkie man.
Yeah.
Twink
Okay.
man.
Yeah,
Twinkie-
I never
Twink
I never
Man?
watched.
Twink Man. It's the new superhero introduced in the Venom universe, Twink Man.
You see
Now-
Twink Man crossed with Carrot Top in the cell, and that's the end of the movie.
Now, Evan, you don't have to lie to us. We all know your actual favorite scene is when Venom takes on his love interest body, and there's the
I knew you were gonna
Venom
mention
Tom
that.
Hardy.
You're
the
gonna say
makeout
that.
Scene.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah,
That's the only
read-
reason
I've-
I went.
I've made a lot of deviant art based on
right.
that scene.
You,
I can
you
tell
look
you,
up
that.
what
Wait,
is it?
that was-
Rule whatever.
Roll 34.
That's it. Rule 34.
You
Venom.
seriously don't know it?
Evan
You see-
knows.
Yeah, I know.
Boston
you
also
seriously-
knows.
Boston goes to Rule
course.
64.
Yeah.
He invented Rule 34.
Is that actually a scene in the movie?
Yeah.
I didn't see
Boston,
Venom.
you've never seen Venom?
No.
Listen.
Heresy.
Well, now we know Boston has 5 more IQ points than the rest of us.
Venom had like potential to be good, and they squandered it at every moment.
Yeah, pretty much. It was
Yeah.
pretty much bad from the beginning to the end.
I mean,
But it made a lot of money.
well, you know, I think it made a lot of money because Tom Hardy's in it, and
Yeah.
you know, that's just like that's the thing with movies like that. You get the big name actor, and then it's anything from there. It doesn't matter how good or bad the movie is. You can draw the people in. You know, just to kind of wane ourselves off of Marvel here, I think all in all for me with WandaVision, like I said earlier, it looks good, but I don't necessarily think it's earth shattering or anything. And you know, I'm gonna watch it because I'm a nice little like Marvel slut who's gonna watch anything they push out. But at the same time,
Okay.
I don't necessarily expect it to be like the best thing I've ever seen.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna wait till
go
what
ahead.
I'm gonna wait and hear what others have to say about it, so that way I can validate their opinion as my own, and then watch it.
Nice.
That's gonna be my stance on it.
Classic. I really hope that what they showed in the trailer is actually in the show. And what I mean by that is things like the aspect ratio, the black and white
Mhm.
stuff. I hope that all is actually in the show and utilized in a creative way,
Right.
rather than it just being like a trailer thing.
You want them to commit to the bit a little bit.
Yeah, and it would be interesting because there's obviously this sort of dreamlike vibe. It's like like stuff isn't real, and I think they could really utilize the directing to show that to the audience. So I hope they do that. That'd be really cool, and it'd
Here's
make
my-
it more enjoyable to watch rather than just have the cookie cutter Marvel directing style.
Hmm.
Here's my prediction. They'll commit for an episode or two, and then it's gone. It's going back to cookie cutter.
Mm.
That is my judgment call right now.
Oh,
Say it's
man.
pessimistic. Say it's based on nothing, because it is based on nothing. But that's my prediction.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I have
think
a feeling some shows will be cookie cutter and other shows will be creative. That's what I think.
Well,
I
here's what
think
it's going to be.
I think Winter Soldier is going to be pretty cookie cutter.
That's what I was going to say.
I think that
I
too.
think it and the Hawkeye show are going to be cookie cutter, and then I think they're going to try things with the She-Hulk show that they're making, and
Yeah.
the WandaVision, just because it's leading into a Doctor Strange. But I would agree that I want them to commit to the bit
Yeah.
because I don't want it to feel like they've set up such an interesting concept just to like short changes on it, you know?
Right. I hope one thing that I'm really concerned about is them like running these shows into the ground. So let's say that WandaVision is good. I don't want them to make like 6 seasons off of this. I mean, if they can and it is good, then okay. But I feel like this concept is like a mini series sort of
Right.
thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, I don't want them to.
I think there's a very real possibility because that's kind of the fear that that's what this is going to do to the movies now, that they're just going to run them into the fucking ground because they don't really know what to do with them. Well, maybe that's not the best way to say it. Because I think Zach, you were telling me about how, in general, you just haven't been super interested in seeing newer Marvel films.
Right. Well, I think there's two parts to the reason I'm not as interested in seeing the future of what Marvel holds. One of them is because I feel like the Marvel I grew up with, like all of us have grown up with, is it's reached its ending, its natural conclusion with Endgame. So that's one thing. Like we've had our Marvel moment almost, and now it's like,
Right.
okay, we're done here. But also, it's just my distaste for the formula because like what you said with Spider-Man applies to both Spider-Man movies. I don't care what anyone says about Black Panther. Black Panther was the same type of cookie cutter, and I didn't care for it. Like
It definitely was.
Chadwick
No
Boseman
disrespect to Chadwick
was,
Boseman.
yeah, he was the perfect Black Panther,
You
and
gotta make that clear.
yeah, I was so interested in
He
his
was fine.
character both in Civil War and his movie. But the problem with Black Panther is they don't spend enough time with his character in the movie. That's the biggest issue it
I agree.
has. Is they're like, oh, but here's all these interesting like Bombay characters, you know?
Right,
They're
right.
Yeah.
gonna scream all the time. And also we got the guy from the Creed movies, Michael B. Jordan. He's here.
He
God.
was a good villain, but I
He is a
think
good
the
villain.
worst part of that movie is because really the whole of the movie is not great. I agree with you, but I think the worst part is the ending. The conclusion is so derivative of the Marvel formula. It's just like it's hard to get through. I was just watching it. I was like, wow, this is bad. This is
When you
pretty
say
bad.
the ending, do you mean like the final fight?
Yeah, the final fight, the
Yeah.
conclusion, pretty much.
Well,
Like,
because every Marvel movie does the thing where it's like when they introduce a new character, and it's like, here's Ant-Man, and he's gonna fight anti-Ant-Man.
right.
That's literally all they do every single time. They did that with Black Panther. They did it with Ant-Man. They did it with Iron Man. They
But
did.
Evan, it worked so well in the first Iron Man movie. How can you say that?
We did not. That's my response to that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, they can't
God.
stop themselves.
Now,
Yeah, you would think they would think of something more creative.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
come on.
you
Well,
also think. Go ahead, Boston.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, when you get these ginormous franchises and you get a formula that works, I mean, you're just pulling in so much money. I mean, like, how often are you really gonna want to make the effort to bring in a team that wants to change things up?
Sure,
You know?
True.
that's the thing.
True.
But that's also the biggest. That's the problem, though, is that Marvel in general isn't run like you've got the guy on top who has a vision for it, but there are also a lot of people making decisions who are just kind of like dudes in suits who really just
Right.
see the Marvel films as a profitable investment rather than an artistic, uh, venture.
Well, you got a bunch of guys who look at a graph of what works and what doesn't. They're like, okay, here's our formula. It's these four bars here that are super high. Put them
Right.
in.
Well, and like considering
Mhm.
how risky, because like it's like gambling, the movie industry. You put so much money in, and if it doesn't break even, you've lost like a lot of money.
Mhm.
So it makes sense for them to want to make these movies as profitable as possible. And like, a lot of the time that just means simplifying it. Not doing something that's super super out there. And I get that, but in the end, it's given us a it's just given us like a massive amount of content that is just mediocre.
Right.
It's not
Well,
super amazing.
eventually, you know, you can only take so much of something, and eventually you're going to get burnt out. And that's just where I'm at on Marvel movies right now. Is like, I'm burnt out.
Right. Because they all blur together. They're all the
Right.
same. It's hard to get excited for the next one when you kind of have the general impression of what it's going to be before you've even seen it.
Hmm. Now, with what I'm about to bring up, I just want to warn you, Aaron, that you're going to be scared of what I'm going to bring up for like 30 seconds as I speak, and
All
then you're
right.
going to feel okay. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
It's
Okay.
So I think it's very important with us movie buffs here, the movie connoisseurs that I consider us all to be, that we decide to talk about the most disappointing movies that have really good reviews that we've
uh,
seen. And I want to talk about Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy for just a minute. Aaron, you can let out the breath you were just holding there.
okay. Yeah.
For those of you curious,
Uh,
I have a 20-minute video somewhere on YouTube that it covers the thing Aaron was holding his breath in about.
you fucking
So,
shill.
yeah.
dare
yeah.
How fucking
I
dare you.
wonder where that is, huh? Definitely don't go watch
Link in
that or
description.
anything, you know. But
I can just picture the link on the screen right now.
I'm gonna do it with me, like with a thumbs up and
Yeah.
pointing straight at it, you know. But have any of you guys seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
Nope.
No, I
Okay.
wanted to
No.
though.
I'm gonna set the scene for you a little bit. So we're talking about a movie that takes place during World War II, and we're talking about like spies and things like that. And we're talking an all-star cast: Colin Firth, Benedict Cumberbatch, William Hurt. Let me find the full list here for you so I can really.
Wait, is this the one with
Oh,
I think it's Daniel Radcliffe? Isn't he in it?
no, it has okay. Gary Oldman, Colin
Oh
Firth,
wow.
Tom Hardy, Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Strong, John Hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus.
this cast is amazing.
fantastic cast. So when you look at a cast like that, you're going to think this should be one of the best movies I've ever watched in my entire life. And you know what? A lot of people really love the film and think it's really great, but I have some issues. And I think when you look at movies as a whole, that if you can't get these simple things down, then it's insane to me how people can even like this movie. Because first of all, you take the studded cast and then you mess up the pacing of the whole film.
How fucking
Because
dare they?
because what it's about is essentially like a whodunit of who is a traitor to the British
Among Us.
intelligence network. Yeah, it's British Among Us
imposter.
in World War II. Um, and so the whole movie just kind of overloads you with so much story, and kind of like when we were talking about the quiet moments with Marvel, you never get a quiet moment in the entirety of the film to kind of sit and digest everything they've thrown at you. So it's literally like you're walking in a heavy torrential rain and you never find like an awning to stand under for even a second. You're just constantly getting battered with rain, you know? And then also, I think they take the this cast and then you look at the dialogue and it's it's in its totality, it's not even all that interesting. So for those of you who like the movie, I'm sorry you're wrong. And for you boys, if you ever watch it, I think you'll come to agree with me that it's a lot of squandered potential with that movie. Because
I'm gonna trust your judgment on that. If you're so passionate about this, I believe you.
so
I think you're full of shit.
well, okay then.
That was also pretty passionate. I think you're full of shit now too.
Yeah.
Bro, this is just like a game of Among Us. All it took was one person saying
I don't know.
anything.
I don't know. Zach seems kind of sus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zach's a
seems
little
kinda
sus on that
sus.
one.
I feel like I'm the type of guy who would find a body instead of reporting it. I just stand over it. Just
You just stand over and look at it like pay your respects or something.
no, just
like
like
that.
just like hide it with my own body. Just wait and see if anyone notices.
Nice. Honestly, that kind of sounds like a you move, though. If I'm being honest.
I'm just playing 4D chess.
Right, right. You're thinking ahead because you're thinking the killer might come back and visit. Like this
Exactly. They
is like
always
CSI
return.
Miami or
They
something.
always
Criminal
return to the
Minds.
scene of the crime, and then they'll
Yeah.
be like, "Where's the fucking body?" I'll be like, "There you are, bitch."
Yeah.
Got you.
But what about you boys? You boys got any movies that were like pretty well reviewed or are pretty well reviewed and that you just didn't really feel them?
Yeah,
Well,
Boston. Got anything
well,
like that?
well, you were here and we were talking about it before we were recording, and I said that I haven't really seen any movies recently that were like, if any of them were bad, none of them were like actually well reviewed. But Zach brought up Aquaman, and that's like the
The
only thing that
Yes.
in my mind that I could talk about.
That's
You
a fucking
know,
great movie, though.
Aaron, do you know
I'm not
the
even
Rotten
fucking
Tomatoes
joking.
scores of that
No,
movie?
I don't. But I was about to
It's
look it up.
it's a 64% critic rating and a 75% viewer rating.
What?
Yeah.
It's sick as fuck, man.
Wow.
It's a
I
great
mean,
movie.
oh man, I don't know. The
There's-
critic score is what? Okay, wait. The critic score you said was what?
64.
Okay, that makes sense, honestly. But
I wouldn't even give it that high.
no, I wouldn't either. I think
mean,
it's bad. I
What
think
the
it's really
fuck?
bad.
It's not high enough.
Those movies are just so fucking cringe, dude. Like
It's
that's
it's not cringe, dude.
it is.
It's great. It's awesome.
Evan wants to
Dude.
watch slow-mo fighting in every movie he goes to
Yeah,
see.
please.
I want to. If that slow mo fight has an epic guitar riff, yeah.
Every single time.
every single time, then yeah, I'll watch that movie. If that movie has a sick montage, I'll watch that movie.
Dude,
Can we talk
how
about
many
how weird
people
the
got put
placement
through
of
a
that
wall in
was?
that movie?
And then like it's like got this '80s funk thing going
Yes,
on.
it comes out of nowhere. He's like, they show up and they're like, "Yo, can you help us out?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I gotta fix my suit." And then sudden '80s montage out of nowhere.
If that gun, because the gun they gave him, because they give him that in that scene before the montage, they give him this gun, and it's like it runs on water and it shoots a sick laser beam. I thought to myself, it's like, how does it, if it takes water to run and you guys made it, how is it just not constantly firing underwater, like incessantly? Isn't that the fucking design flaw? Can you imagine just having a gun you can't turn off? It's the superior Atlantean technology, I guess. We can't fucking fathom how big-brained they are. But the movie's still amazing. So,
Listen,
that final fight was great.
Oh yeah, that's great.
you just
The
like hearing
Ocean
them say "Ocean Master." Yeah,
I
exactly.
do!
Exactly.
I love that scene where, because he puts on his stupid helmet and you get to see that the eyebrows move, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe he thought of that. And then he goes up to some dude, and he's like, and the dude he's killing, this crab man, he's like, oh, you fucking suck. And he's like, oh, don't say that. Call me Ocean Master. And then, like, the camera pans out, and it's like he's a real badass, and it's a fucking great scene. It's a great movie.
I've talked to a lot
Um,
of people about Aquaman that like it, and
Yeah.
every time they say they like it, the thing I want to ask them, but I never do because I'm so worried of the stupid response I'll hear, is how can you justify the scene where, for the first half of the movie, I think you have a pretty cut and dry superhero movie. Like the first half, other than just being like the boring expected superhero movie, I don't have that many gripes with. But then you get to the part where it's like it becomes like a rom-com all of a sudden when she like is like, "Whoa,
mhm.
what's a flower?" and eats it.
What the fuck needs
The,
justification
Okay.
about that
the
scene?
tonal shifts on
What
a dime.
What
I
needs
mean,
justification?
It does.
It's a fine scene.
is it Evan? Okay,
Yeah, it's a
okay.
fine scene.
You know what, Mr. Ryder's mind over here. Tell me, give me the exact justification for it, my friend.
What do you need? What needs justification about it specifically?
Just
What do you need justified?
tell me how you would write that scene up, like explaining it to the cast.
Okay,
You've had this
all
first
right.
half
So
of the
say
movie that's pretty cut and dry
say I'm
superhero.
Mr. I'm Mr. Aquaman. I'm Mr. Aquaman. I've just gotten done with like a 5-hour coke stint in my writing room trying to fucking write up Aquaman. I bust out the room. Jason Momoa is fucking sitting in his chair. Whoever the fuck was the girl is just getting done having another fight with Johnny Depp
Amber Heard.
and Amber Heard. I
Just
walk
got
up
done
to them.
shitting on his bed.
Yeah, exactly. I woke up to him and like, all right, guys, here's the scene. It's fucking brilliant. You guys are fucking awesome. And I like have nervous scratches because I've taken heroin to get this fucking script out. So I explained to them, listen, Amber Heard, you are not a native to the land. You're a fish out of water, so to speak. And you have no idea of these
I just slapped my
customs.
knee for you.
You don't even know what grasses or foliage. Many of the foliage and greenery under the sea is edible and is necessary for life. So the concept of a flower as a symbol of love is so foreign to you that when Jason Momoa hands you the flower as a symbol. Wait, was it Jason Momoa or some other
Yeah,
dude?
no, it was
As
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa hands you the flower as a symbol of his affection for you. The concept goes over your head, and instead of accepting his love, you consume the flower, representing not only your naivete and ignorance of the customs of the land, but also your unwillingness to accept affection on the surface level and instead feel need to lash out, to crush it at its first instance. You can't accept love. That's what the scene represents.
I'm going to summarize what you just said. You're telling me that the justification is, listen, you're going to come out as like a horny goat that wants to chew up on all the plants.
Why is she horny?
You said she's
never said anything about
understanding
sex.
love.
The fuck's that?
When do we get to Ocean Master?
Love
When
and
do we
lust
get to-
are two different things.
Okay, fair
You
enough.
fucking
You know what?
heathen.
Fair point. Fair
You
point.
fucking read the Bible one day, you fucking godless.
I think
Piece of
you guys
shit.
are forgetting about one scene in Aquaman that is it is the worst scene.
Is it the sweat scene? Is that what you're going to?
It's so there's two child actors for Aquaman in that movie.
Oh my god,
And
you're
the
right.
the older one, like the youngest one, isn't really bad, but the older one, quite possibly, is the worst actor I've ever seen ever. It's
All
so
right.
bad. They recorded that, and then and then someone had to greenlit it. It's incredible to me. I mean, it had to have been a joke. Like I don't know. It's wild.
Well, like criticism doesn't count because I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Dude, you need to look it up. It's so bad. It's so bad.
My favorite scenes are the ones where they talk to each other, and then they have the shot where both characters are on like both like the left or right of the screen, and there's like they're focusing on the space in between them, and then every fucking time they do that, an explosion occurs. They did that like 3 times.
Dude, no, it happened like 5 times.
Oh, really? I could
Yeah,
believe
it happened so much.
It's so fucking funny. It's like you could see it's like,
Amazing.
oh my god, it can't happen again, and it happens again. Like holy shit. My other favorite scene is when Amber Heard and Jason Momoa start making out in the middle of a fucking war zone as the fucking bombs explode and kill their fucking people
Yeah,
around them. They're just fucking
that's what
swapping
Chads
time.
do, man.
Yeah.
It's
I
Chocolate
pretty
jazz.
vividly
How-
remember that, Evan. I went to see this movie with you, and because I had been doing something and I hadn't been able to go when all the boys went, but Evan was gracious enough to be like, "I want to go see my favorite movie a second time." And I
Third
remember that. Oh, you're right. Sorry, you saw this movie like 6 times.
3
So,
times. I don't. That's how people go fucking crazy here.
how many times have you seen it since, though, Evan? Let's be honest.
None. Not at all.
I'm shocked. I'm impressed, actually. But I remember vividly the beginning scene where it's the sub and the guitar riff plays and there's all the explosions. Before every one of them, Evan would just like nudge me or say like, "It's coming now. It's coming right now."
Because I was so excited. What did you see it?
That's honestly probably one of the most painful movies I've ever had to sit through in my entire life.
That's not
is
fucking
Aquaman.
true.
I
No,
don't know,
no,
I
you're
think
fucking
Venom looks
lying.
worse for
No,
me.
you're fucking lying too. We all know what the most painful movie was, and Zach was the one who subjected us to it.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I didn't say. I said it was one
Wait,
of the
what was it?
most.
Wait,
Fucking
which movie?
Cats.
I made us all
Oh
go
my
see
God.
Oh
Cats.
my god, yes.
I
That
forgot
was
about that.
awful.
I
The
actually.
worst movie
Oh
I've
my
ever
God.
seen.
That was terrible to sit through. It wasn't even funny. The
Yeah.
only fun aspect was watching everyone lose their fucking minds. I think I saw Chase just to feel something. He fucking punched the back of the chair in front of me.
I
Just-
remember vividly I'm sitting there dying as I look at everyone else in the row having an awful time. I mean, I saw Chase hitting things. I remember you guys having a conversation about getting up and leaving to go watch something else. I think it
We
was
were gonna
Fast and
go.
the Furious or
No,
something like that.
is Jumanji.
That's what it was. It was Jumanji. God, I'm happy we sat through that whole movie. You know why? Because now
You're fucking
we have that
sadist.
Can't
shared
believe I paid for
experience.
it.
No. But you see, that's the difference between you and I, Zach. I watch Aquaman because I have a fun fucking time. You watch Cats because you like seeing your friends suffer.
We all watched it once. I didn't go and see it three
Sadistic
times.
There was a fun time every time, man. What are you talking about?
Not a fun time for me. I hate that
And you
movie.
only saw it once. So,
I did not see it
fuck
once.
off.
I went and saw it with Rachel too.
Why did
So,
you see it twice?
because
Why did
my
you do that
little
to yourself?
sister wanted to go and see it, and I'm supposed to say no. Uh-uh.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
No, you
Oh, yeah.
wouldn't. You like that movie.
Oh, if it was a movie I hated, like if my fucking grandma came up to me, it's like, "Oh, Evan, I'm dying. I want to go see before I die in 24 hours. I want to go see Cats." I'd
You
be like,
you mean you
"Sorry,
didn't
grandma."
enjoy seeing James Corden fly up into the nether realms
I don't think
from
there was
without
any
any
aspect of that
physics?
movie I enjoyed. There's nothing about it. It is devoid of any happiness, of any life. I don't think I was alive when I saw that movie. I'm pretty sure I died for about an hour, 2 hours,
I
and then
gotta
my
say,
soul just came back.
I had more fun watching Jack's films break down the trailer frame by frame than I did any part of that movie. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I
Shitty
didn't
fucking
think
piece of trash.
when we went to see it, I didn't think a movie could be that bad. You
Proved
know?
you wrong.
Yeah, no, I've been thoroughly proved wrong by that film. And every time I tell someone I've seen Cats, they ask me why. And I did just want to go see a bad movie with the boys, and it was worse than a bad movie. It was an atrocious movie.
That was one thing I wish we didn't make time for.
God, that yeah. I'll never live down Cats
No,
ever.
you won't. I'll be at like my fucking funeral, and then like they'll be reading my obituary and be like, "And to Zach, my oldest friends, I was going to give like $500,000 in my house, but instead he gets a fucking napkin that I used to wipe my ass with because he went to take me to see Cats. You piece of shit."
I appreciate that. I felt that in here, right in my
You're
heart.
welcome. You're welcome,
Yeah,
buddy. It's all for you, baby.
yeah. I really thank you. So,
Hey, no problem. No problem. No problem.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Ev. Go ahead. I heard it. I heard the intake of words about to come out.
You're lying, but all right. I'll make something up because guess what?
What?
I think we're out of time for the
Think
boys.
we're out of time for the boys? I think you're
I
right.
think we are out of
I
time.
think we're out of time for the boys. Boys, I'm happy Boston, Aaron, you boys joined us today. It's a good time. We had some good conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you having me on. But I do want to say, have me on when you're talking about fucking Marvel.
Yeah, sorry. We thought I don't know.
Well, see, I knew probably I actually debated. I was like, maybe I should just sit this one out. I'll just wait. But then I was like, surely I could bust something out,
Right,
you know?
right. But well, it happens. We'll bring you back on when we're talking about what's something you're interested in. Just say it.
Um, well, I don't know if it's like
Evan, you should know Boston's boring. He doesn't have any topics of conversation.
Well, I don't want to say like fucking. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is politics, but I'm not gonna fucking. I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we're about to push out
I
the
don't.
ultimate
Well,
podcast.
We can bring you back in when we're talking about gotcha games, that
Oh
episode.
my god!
Or when we're talking about
When
the
Evan
sick new,
admits to his addiction.
and when we talk about the sick new Harry Potter game coming out next year.
Oh yeah, epic.
Epic fucking pogs.
Pog. It's very, very pog, Evan.
Can we get some pogs in the comments for that one?
Yeah, can we get some pogs from the boys?
Dude,
Yeah.
if the comment with the most pogs gets a free Amazon gift card, go for it.
Worth
Who the fuck is
20
paying for that?
pogs.
Worth 20 pogs.
Yeah.
What can you? Oh my god.
Get this video to 20,000 likes and you'll get a fucking $5 gift card to McDonald's. Do it, boys.
6
Pogs.
shillings.
But I think we're done.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time when we're making time for the boys. Ciao.
Adios, boys.